Majestic Yoga Studio's online yoga challenge. I'm Lindsay Gibson, and we are going to be doing core today for our spring challenge. So Melissa, I'm going to have you start on the ground with a roller, and you'll lie down. We'll put the roller lengthwise like this, and you'll lie down so that your whole spine is on it. So your head, your feet are on the ground, and your tailbone's on it. So your head, your whole spine, and your tailbone are on it. And then put a block at the end. The block is that good right there?
That's good.
So the block is just at the end, and then you can bring your feet up. You can also do this with a blanket, a rolled up blanket, and what you would do is you would take your blanket like this, and just make a blanket roll with it, and roll it up tighter than I'm doing. But then you would lie down on it so that your whole spine was on it. And this is just to destabilize your spine and to let all of the muscles release and your spine start to open up. And what it's also doing is it's helping you to start to access your core, which is what we're working on today. So as you're lying there, try to soften and feel the support of the roller underneath you. And very often it's hard, when we're practicing, it's hard to soften and let go. So if you feel the roller, you'll actually soften and let down. Your muscles will soften and release down onto it. So I like to try to imagine that the roller you feel the texture of the roller. You imagine that the roller's warm, like you're lying on a beach. And feel it with your spine, and then let all of the muscles start to drift away. And see if you can keep your pelvis really steady and pull your belly button in. So as you're lying there, just let all your muscles melt away. Connect to your breath. And as you inhale, lift your right knee up, and then down, and your left knee up, and down. And just move slowly. Notice and observe. Observe where you're borrowing from. Observe if your body's moving around, if it's wobbling, which it will. And observe and notice without judgment. And then try to steady yourself by using your core muscles and your breath. And your diaphragm, the muscle you breathe with, is actually one of your most important core muscles. Nice and slowly and steady. And do one more each side. Again, noticing where you borrow from, and just try to feel those areas to help you soften them. And now this time, you'll lift your right knee up. Hold it there. Left knee up. And then lower your left leg down. Right leg down to the block. Left knee up. Right knee up, right leg down, left leg down. Left knee, right leg, left leg. Don't rush. Right leg, left leg down, right leg up. If you mess up, don't worry, because I probably do too. Left leg up, left leg up. Right leg up. See, I probably screwed up this cueing there. Right leg down, left leg down. And pause. And just let it sink in. Take a few breaths. So when you're doing deep core work like this on a roller or a blanket, you always want to give yourself a moment in between just to let it sink in so you can start to create new neuromuscular patterns. Now, lift your right knee up. Hold it there. Lift your left knee. And what we'll do is we'll alternate one leg down and then up, and then the other leg down and up. So start with your right knee down and up, left, and just keep alternating. And you're a little more unstable here because both legs are in the air. Notice the tendency to brace with our shoulders and your side ribs. So what will help is if you just feel them, and by feeling them, that will draw your awareness to them and help you to soften and let go. And then really just a nice natural inhale and a nice natural exhale. You don't want to force your breath. You want a really natural breath, a diaphragmatic breath. Almost like you're breathing into, your diaphragm is like an umbrella. So you're filling up the umbrella, and then what happens, it will end up feeling like a belly breath. Last one. And then just bring both feet down on the block and just pause for a moment. And again, just let it sink. You can pause for about 20, 30 seconds. Just a few breaths. And notice your body, notice your breath. Notice what your mind feels. And hopefully you're starting to feel a little more relaxed, like you're opening up a little more. Now let's bring both knees up. And if you can, extend your legs straight up. If not, you'll do it with your knees bent again. Lowering your right leg down, and then back up, and then left. And you're only going to go as low as you can keep your pelvis steady and your spine steady and long. And again, notice the tendency to want to round in your shoulders and grip in your diaphragm and your ribcage area. You know, Melissa's very strong here and steady, but she's having to really work her core here. But I want you to only go as low as feels right for you. There's no competition here. I just want you to do the range of motion that feels good to you today. And each day it changes. You may find your hips are tighter or you're a little more tired. So just go with what feels right today. Nice. Now if you have a clicking in your hips, don't go as low because that's just a tendon or a ligament. Do one more. Again, really pulling your belly button in, stabilizing your spine. Nice. And last one here. Good. And then bending both knees, bring both feet on the ground, not on the block, bring them on the ground. And you'll just push the block off to the side and roll over onto your side and come lie back on your back push your roller or blanket out of the way and just come lie, stretch your legs straight out and lie on your back for a few breaths. And notice how your mind feels, notice how your body feels, your breath. Notice how your heart feels. Hopefully you're starting to feel like your nervous system's calming down a little bit, your breath is a little deeper. Good, so let's now bend your knees, come up onto your hands and knees, and let's come into cat pose. So come into table pose actually first. So come onto your hands and knees, and you can pad your knees if you want to. So you can either fold up your mat, or you can put a blanket or a towel underneath your knees. So your shoulders are over your wrists, your hips are over your knees. Bring your knees forward a little bit. Your hips are over your knees. And one way to know is just feel your shoulders, feel your wrists, feel your hips, feel your knees. And we're going to come into cat and cow just to open your spine up a little bit more and connect you to your breath a little more. So draw the tailbone towards your pubic bone so you can come into cat and really articulate your vertebrae. And then draw your pubic bone towards your tailbone as you come into cow. And just moving back and forth with your breath. Nice. And try to feel like your side body is really long. So the side body from the side armpit chest all the way up to from your side rib, top of your pelvis all the way up to the armpit chest. And as you come forward into cow, just soften your heart. And just do one more in each direction. Good, and then we'll come back into table, and we'll come into this next we're going to increase the intensity of the core work from now. So you're going to take a roller, and you're going to put your ankles right up on the roller, and your knees are over your hips, your shoulders are over your wrists, and you're going to lift your hips up in the air, knees up in the air just a little bit, and use your core to lift up. So really pull your belly button in, stretch your upper spine long, to get really long in that upper spine, beautiful. And see if you can use your core to lift your hips up a little bit higher. And then lower back down. And then do that again, lift your knees up a little bit, use your core, so the deep, deep core muscles, excellent, and Lengthen that upper spine. And then lower back down. Now you can also do this with a rolled up blanket too. I would use 2 blankets instead of 1, or 2 towels instead of 1 if you'd like to do that. And then do 2 more like this. And again, really long in your upper spine. Beautiful. And then 1 more. Nice. Now the next one we're going to do is you'll start in plank pose with your feet up on the roller. So I'm going to roll this back a little bit. And then step 1 foot back and then the other, and your ankles go right on top. Yeah. So it's, yeah, beautiful. And now what you're going to do is you're going to pull your knees in towards your chest and use your core and keep your spine really long. There you go. And then push back out again. And pull the knees in. Keep your spine long. Excellent. And then back out. Try to relax your shoulders. Now, if you find you're rolling off the roller, does that feel okay? If you can adjust your feet on the roller a little bit. Melissa's toes were coming off. I'd put it, make sure it's more at the top of the ankle as you start, and if you need to shift it, you can. Knees in, exhaling, using your breath, and back out. And you really want to use your core, not the momentum, so move nice and slowly. And then do 2 more and really keep that upper spine long. If you're tired, come down and rest. And last one. Good. And then bring your knees on the ground and let's come into child's pose. And you can have your feet on the roller if you want, or we can push the roller off to the side. And if you're finding that it's a little tight in your shoulders, just use child's pose to let your shoulders release. Let the hips release down. And take a few breaths. And again, notice how your breath feels. Notice how your body feels. Notice how your heart feels. So let's come back into plank. And the roller will now be right at the top of your ankles, so right at the base of your shin bone. So that's right about there. Good. And we're going to come from plank into downward dog. So you'll pike your hips up using your core, relaxing the back of the heart. Beautiful. And then push back out. And doing that again, pulling in and back out. Relax your shoulders so you don't burrow in your shoulders. Relax the side ribs. Excellent, excellent. And then back down. Do you have one more? And then pull back in. Beautiful. And then come rest in child's pose. And let's move the roller out of the way this time. Good. And so you can just let your feet relax and your hips relax. And coming into a pose like child's pose, it also lets your diaphragm relax. So your breathing can get easier and softer. So the next pose we'll come into plank pose with your feet up on the roller. So I'll hold it steady. So you want your toes, well, the toes actually will be on the roller this time. So start in table and then lift up into plank. And if you need to adjust your arms, you can. Really push the ground away with your hands. Keep the roller steady. Lengthen your upper spine. Pushing out through both inner heels, lift your right leg up. Nice, and then lower it back down. And then your left leg up. Keep the pelvis steady, beautiful, and then down. One more time, each side. Relaxing your shoulders. Lengthening out through your inner heels. Can you do one more? So your feet are the gateway to your core. Really push out through your inner heel. Excellent. Lower down. Come down onto your knees and come back into child's pose. And again, you just always want to give yourself a few breaths in between to let it sink in so you can, first of all, let your muscles relax, and then you can start to create new patterns. Okay, let's now we're going to come now into side plank. So we'll show 2 variations with this. In side plank, let's start on your left side. And you'll lie on your left side. So come lie on your left side and come down on your forearm, actually. So we'll do forearm side plank and start with your knees bent. And I'm actually going to have you use a roller. Great. I know, sorry. The roller is to make you more unstable, but with the instability, you find balance and steadiness. So you want to press down through your forearms, bring your top hand on your hip, and you're going to press your inner heels together, lengthen your upper spine, and start to lift your hips up. But lift your hips with your heels and your core. Beautiful. Lift your top arm up, lengthen your upper spine, ground your tailbone towards your feet. And lower back down. And then let's come to the other side. So I'll just put the roller at this end for you. Okay. I mean, you're not going to have someone moving the roller around for you, so you can just keep the roller where it is. So before you lift up, press your inner heels together, or just feel your inner heels. That's going to help you start to engage your inner thighs. Lengthen your upper spine. Press down with your forearm and start to lift your hips up. Again, you lift from the inner heels, pushing down, which will activate your arms. Beautiful. Now lengthen your upper spine. And take a deep breath in and exhaling. Imagine that umbrella. And you're filling up the umbrella. It's sort of like a Mary Poppins umbrella, so you want to breathe into the whole umbrella. It's just a big dome. Beautiful. Lower back down. So that's one variation of Vashisthasana. Now we'll come into the second variation. And again, I'm just going to move Melissa's roller, but you don't need to. You can keep your roller where it is. And then both legs are straight out this time. And before Melissa comes all the way into this, we'll show two variations. One is like this with the feet together. The other is with the top foot in front, like that. This is a little less challenging, and then with the feet together, it's just a little more challenging. If you have some instability in your pelvis or your spine, do it with the foot in front, or do it with your knees bent again. They're all perfect. So press down through the forearm, press your inner heels together, feel the inner heels, lengthen your upper spine. Keep that as you lift up. Beautiful. And reaching the top arm up, try to line up the back of your head, the back of your heart, the top of your sacrum, and lengthen out to your inner heels again. Lengthen your upper spine. Nice. Lower down. And then we'll come back to the second side. So again, you can either stack your feet, the top foot can be in front, or the knees can be bent. And then bring your top hand on your hip. So the reason for that is that because I don't want you to push off with that top arm, I want you to use your core to lift up. Pressing the inner heels together, feeling them, grounding yourself with your tailbone, lengthening your upper spine as you lift up. And then line up. Actually, look down at your right hand, at your bottom hand. Line up the back of the head, the back of the heart, beautiful, the top of the sacrum, and bring your top hip forward a little bit. Nice. And get really long in your spine. And then press out through the inner heels again. Feel your inner heels a little more. So your feet are the gateway to your core. Your core starts in your big toe. And lower back down. And then come lie on your stomach and just come rest with your forehead on your hands for a few breaths. And you can just put your head down here. So this is crocodile pose. And this will just let your diaphragm release, and it's going to start to just let your shoulders release and your whole shoulder core release here. And now we'll come up into a cobra pose. So actually, we're going to come into bridge pose first. So come lie on your back. Come lie on your back and face this way. And you can do this either with a roller or with a blanket. So the blanket would be on the ground, but the roller can either be on the mat or on the ground. And we're going to come into bridge pose. So you'll place your feet either on the blanket or the roller. Your arms are by your side. Gently pressing the back of the head into the ground, lengthening your upper spine. Now keep the roller stable, your blanket stable as you lift your hips up into the air. Coming into bridge, into Setu Bandha. Nice. Now keep the rollers steady. Turn your toes in a little bit. So you want to try to keep the feet parallel. You want to be careful of the tendency for them to roll out. And your spine really steady, the upper spine long. So the upper spine from the back of your heart, just below your shoulder blades, try to keep that long. And then lower back down. And then let's do that again, keeping the roller steady, your upper spine long. See if you can engage the backs of your legs, your hamstrings, your glutes. You want to be careful you don't grip in the outer hips. Those are actually your external rotators. There are a couple gluteus muscles, but you want to mostly be in the gluteus maximus and your hamstring muscles and calves. Now keeping your spine really steady and lower back down. So now we're going to make it a little more challenging. So keep, you can stay in, you can just lift up, or you can add this next component. So lift up, keeping the upper spine long. And now push out, push the roller out, and then pull back in. I know, it's really hard. And then try to keep your pelvis steady. So don't push as far this time. There you go. And then pull back in. If you're using a blanket, just push out a little bit because this is hard. Excellent. Do one more. You may find if you're cramping in the backs of your legs, don't go as far. It's just, you need to get the muscles a little bit stronger. So you want to build up to this. Okay, and then lower back down. And hug both knees into your chest. So now the next pose we'll come into, will come lie on your stomach, and you'll take either your blanket or your roller and put it up at the top of your mat. And you're going to lie with your forearm, your wrists right up on the roller. So come stretch your arms straight out. If you're using a blanket, just have your hands on it. So pull the blanket, pull the roller back a little bit. Engage your triceps, pause there. Lengthen out through your inner heels. Really try to feel your inner heels. And now use your core, your whole spine, your breath to start to lift up. Beautiful. Soften your shoulders. Relaxing just right at the base of the neck. Beautiful. And then lower down. So you may find that you don't go quite as high. So again, pulling back. Try to engage your triceps. Ground yourself with your tailbones. Draw the energy down through your feet, legs into your feet, lengthening out through your inner heels. Beautiful. And lower down. And as you lift up this time, try to really lengthen your side body, lengthen your side waist as you lift up. Relax your shoulders. And then back down. And what you may find is because you're moving that you have to keep reminding yourself to relax your shoulders. And imagine that umbrella, your diaphragm's that umbrella, and you're breathing into the umbrella. You're filling it up, the whole circumference of your umbrella, even the top, every nook and cranny of the umbrella. Do one more. Nice. And then lower down, rest with your forehead on your hands. And you can bend your knees and why don't you bend your knees and just gently rock your feet side to side, loosening up your lower back. If you found your back was hurting doing that, don't go quite as high. And then just stretching both legs straight out. We're going to come into Shavasana now, so you can either stay here or you can come over on your back. So why don't you come lie on your back? And in Shavasana, just take a few breaths here, a few moments here, to let your spine relax. Just give yourself a moment to let go. Let your shoulders release. Let the back of the head release. If Feel the support of the mat underneath your spine, underneath your hips. Let your legs be heavy. And let your feet, the outer edges of the feet, the inner edges of the feet, let them soften, let them release down towards the ground. And really feeling the support of the ground underneath you. And you can stay here for a little bit longer. Namaste.